Hi, remember me? I'm Anne, your time travel guide. I'm going to take you back in time to when there was no schools. Think that sounds fun? Think again. Instead of going to school, you would have to work. The first time children in the area were educated in a school setting was at the Palomares Adobe, which is located on what is now Arrow Highway. You may have even seen it or driven past it. It still stands to this day. When a portion of the Palomares Rancho was sold off, Colonel George Heath bought part of the land. In 1886, he built an impressive schoolhouse, which was later known as the Lordsburg Public School and later changed to Lincoln School. The next year, in 1887, when the railroad came through Lordsburg, Mr. Lord built a large hotel to accommodate all the guests and all the tourists that he expected. The tourists didn't come, and the hotel never had a paying guest. Instead, the German Baptist Brethren Church bought the hotel, and in 1891, the hotel became Lordsburg College. Much later, after a few name changes, the college became the University of La Verne. The town was growing, and with its growth, more schools were needed. Bonita Union High School was built to serve the youth from the local communities San Dimas, Lordsburg, and La Verne. Other schools were added to the newly developed community and neighborhoods, but let's let our storyteller, Peggy Redman, tell you all about that.
I'm really glad to be able to talk to you today. Now I know that each one of you fits into one of these groups. You are either a Grace Miller Roadrunner, a Laverne Heights Lion, an Oak Mesa Owl, or a Roynan Raccoon. And I'd like to welcome all of you today because you are so lucky that you get to go to school in Laverne. Laverne has schools that really care about their students, and you have teachers that care about you. I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of the schools in Laverne. And one of the things that happened is that Laverne has had education almost from the beginning of when it was Lordsburg, way back before the turn of the century. The first school in Laverne was founded in 1898, and it was over on what's now White Avenue, but it was Lincoln Avenue. And that school changed places and ended up on the property that now has Roynan Elementary School. But it was Lincoln before it was that. And Laverne Heights, all of you that are in Laverne Heights, you are in the oldest living school that actually is still being used as an education facility. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some history that happened here in this city that I think is just amazing. When they moved the school and eventually had Lincoln here, there were two schools. There was Laverne Heights and there was Lincoln Elementary. And the third school that was planned, they decided they would put on Palomares Avenue. Now you don't know Palomares Avenue because nowadays it's called Arrow Highway. And that school served, majority of the students were Latinx, as we would say today, children that were from Latin or Mexican descent. And those schools continued on, and they were all K through 8. So you went to kindergarten and you were through 8th grade in the schools. What was happening is when the students from these three schools would come to Bonita High School, there was a disparity in the amount of education that the children had had. And the ones in Palomares were not as prepared for the high school setting. And so at that time, the superintendent, and this was in about the late 40s, may have been 1948, was J. Marion Roynan. And he had this idea that we needed to integrate the schools so that we would have better equality in the standard of education. And so he decided to take all of the primary teachers from Lincoln School and move them to the Palomar School, along with all of the students. So all of the students went to Palomars if they were K through 3. And then to leave the upper elementary school, which would be 4th through 8th, on this campus, and it would include all the students that had formerly been in Palomars and the ones that were at Lincoln Elementary School, and essentially integrated the schools in Laverne at least 6 years before they were integrated on the national level through Brown versus Board of Education. And I just think it's a wonderful thing that we live in a city with people that had that kind of forethought. Now the really exciting thing is this school, J. Marion Roynan School, is named after him. And that makes it really special because it means we've honored him forever, because that will stay the name of this school. And I want to tell you just another interesting thing. Sometimes when you're walking by Roynan School, you're going to see a woman who was for many years a teacher in our district, Mrs. Karen Higgins. Well, Mrs. Higgins taught kindergarten at both Laverne Heights and Roynan Elementary School. And upon retirement, she took it on her just heart to take care of all of the plants around this school. So you see such beautiful, well cared for plants and beautification in this place. Now here's the interesting thing. Karen Higgins, or Mrs. Higgins as you may have known her, is the granddaughter of J. Marion Roynan. So we live in a town that really honors education in so many different ways. We're here at Roynan School and we're at the library, and it's so beautiful. They have done this gorgeous mural that honors books and honors the fact that reading and books are the most important part of what we do while we're at school. And I have so many memories of this particular site. When I was in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, I attended Lincoln School, which was on this very property. The school itself was a 2-story school, and it was in the corner where the field is now. So they were able to keep students in school while they built this one around it, the current Roynan School. And my mother was my 1st grade teacher, and that was difficult because I talked too much, and so she had to discipline me. And then when I talked about my mother, she was a teacher here, and she actually taught kindergarten here for 35 years. Retired, and her name was Mrs. Deal, and I run into people still around the town that either had her or their grandparents or their parents had her. So I know that she, even though she is gone, is part of this legacy. And here's another interesting thing. You remember I told you about Palomar School? My mother was one of the primary teachers that went down to Palomars and taught kindergarten during that time. And I know it's true because I was a little older and I would go down and help her set up her room at times. So that's just another part of the history. This particular building was the classroom of Larry Bailey, who was one of our really fine teachers here at Roynan for many, many years. And all 3 of my children who attended Roynan had Mr. Bailey. And he's one of those teachers that I think gave them the ethical and moral compass that helps them today, and they're all in their 50s and really good citizens. 2 of them are educators on their own. So there's just a lot of history with this school. I'm looking out at the students that are out here running around and remembering when Mr. Armandon was a teacher here, and he used to have a decathlon where all the students would participate in athletic endeavors, and then in the end they would get a gold medal, a silver or a bronze, and their name was posted in the cafeteria. So there's so many things about this school, and for me there's another piece that's really special to me. My end of my career, I was the head of teacher education at the University of La Verne, and many of my students are teachers in the 4 schools that you are all attending. So I may even know some of your teachers, which is a really special thing. And I guess what I want to say is that this school, this city, and all the schools in this city are such incredible places to get your education. You're all going to be a Ramona Viking one day, and you will also be a Bonita Bearcat. And you're going to be on the Bonita Bearcat right up the street from Roynan on D Street, and it was originally down where Damien is. That was the original site of Bonita High School, but you're going to love every aspect of being in school here in the Bonita Unified School District.